Welcome to our Ayurveda talk as we are talking tonight about one of the really important parts of Ayurveda as far as food, which is ghee. And when I first got into Ayurveda, I didn't even know what ghee was. Ghee is basically clarified butter. It is not actually considered dairy, although it does come from butter, but ghee is basically they cook off the fat. So you're left with basically this clarified butter, this buttery substance that doesn't have any of the fat anymore in it. So why is ghee such a big deal in Ayurveda? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Ghee, first of all, is the most nutritious oil. It's considered an oil that you can ingest. So that means that if you're really depleted, if you're dealing with a lot of depletion, fatigue, you're run down, those kinds of things, and you really want to, and say you're working with an Ayurvedic practitioner or somebody who has encouraged you to take herbs, if you really want to get those herbs to go deeper into the tissues, you would use ghee as your carrier. So a lot of times people will talk about carrier oils. And years ago, I would go to those doTERRA meetings and they would always say coconut oil. Oh, it's the best carrier oil. And it is a carrier oil. However, it is not the best. It's fine if you are pitta and you run hot, right? Pitta is mostly fire element. So if you're running hot, then that makes sense because coconut is going to actually cool down your tissues. But when you are somebody who runs cold, or you have depletion, or you have excess of body tissue, then cold is not going to be appropriate. Cold oil is just going to be like putting ice on your skin. It's not going to be able to absorb. There are people who literally you touch their body and they feel cold. They literally run cold, especially if you're a kapha. If you're a kapha individual, you are made up of the kapha elements, water and earth. And one of the qualities of water and earth is cold. So they literally run cold. It's not uncomfortable for them, but they run cold. So when you touch a kapha person, their skin will feel cold. So putting cold coconut oil on a kapha person wouldn't be appropriate. Also for vata, because vata runs cold as well. So let's talk about ghee. And I do have some notes. Ghee is so amazing because what it does is it increases your digestive fire. So if you're taking it internally, it is going to increase your digestive fire, your Agni. This is a big deal because in order for you to absorb and to actually get nutrients into your body from the food you eat, if you don't have strong digestion, you don't absorb your nutrients. So ghee actually helps it. And think about this because oils are heavy, right? Oils are heavier. So if you have an oil that actually increases digestive fire, ghee does that. So ghee doesn't behave in the same way as the other types of oils that are more heavy. That's kind of like your digestive fire is like a fire pit. You've got the logs, you've got the fire, and then if you add oil, it's like adding wet mud on your fire, right? So how do you digest your food when there's wet mud on top of your fire? So ghee doesn't do that. It actually does the opposite. It actually helps the digestive fire. It helps digestive fire. It's going to improve absorption and assimilation. Like ghee is considered the most, it's Sattvic. And Sattvic means pure. It is one of the best things that you can have for like as far as like if you're going to take in an oil. So it nourishes, and if it nourishes, it means it's going to build your vital reserves. And if you had an Ayurveda consultation with me, you will know that, remember, there's a prioritization of what tissues receive nutrients. Your vital reserves, your tank. So if something happens to you and you get sick, how much do you have in your tank to help you get through that sickness? Right? Your energy stores. How much do you have there? And you talk to like moms and just somebody who just had a baby, or people who are working 2-3 jobs, those kind of individuals, and they're fatigued and chronically tired. They have no vital reserves. Your vital reserves is called your ojas. GHEE is going to help nourish and move deep into the tissues and help build your vital reserves. It is such a miracle food. I'm going to tell you all the ways of why it's a miracle food. So let me continue. It is going to build your vital reserves. It's going to help your subtle essence. What does that mean? Well, if you've been listening to any of my videos, you have what they call, now there's a new science in Western medicine, Western science. It's called circadian biology. And by the way, circadian biology has been known in Ayurveda for thousands and thousands of years. But it's great because now Western science is getting on board and going, oh, there's a thing called circadian biology. What does that mean? It means that your body automatically is aligned with the different types of times of the day. It is actually has hormonal releases and different chemical reactions that take place in the body based on the time of the day. It's natural. So circadian rhythms mean that, and it's a different name for nighttime, but circadian is daytime. So when you wake up in the morning, there are actual hormones that get released into the brain and into the body that gently wake you up, move you out into the day. And then you have all these different fluctuations of hormones and chemical reactions that go on throughout the day. And then as the day starts to wind down, different hormones get released to start winding you down towards nighttime. Okay, so the circadian biology. But there are subtle forces behind that. So this is the reason why in Ayurveda, your daily practice matters. Because when you are consistent and you are paying attention to your daily routine, it means that these subtle forces, the subtle essences, are also going to get into alignment. And that's all part of that circadian biology. There's so much more going on in the body than we realize. You have so much going on on a cellular level, within each organ, within each system. And those are subtle energies that don't get supported when we are not living in alignment with circadian biology. So being awake when it's daytime and going to bed when it's nighttime is important. Having a routine is important. Your daily routine matters because it allows your body to function properly. It allows you to stay healthy. So it helps with those subtle essences. And I know I just got a little sidetracked there, but it's because I want you to understand what those subtle essences are and why they're important. It's going to help strengthen your body tissues and the brain, the nervous system. It improves your memory. It lubricates the connective tissue, makes the body more flexible. So if you're interested in yoga, GHEE would help you. GHEE also is a way of, like I said, it's like a carrier oil, and it is a way of carrying herbs, so medicine, into the body. And it's going to move the deepest. So if you're really, really depleted, GHEE is your go-to, because you can do GHEE with certain herbs. And remember, each herb has a specialty about it. Some herbs are going to help with the respiratory system. Some herbs are builders, like ashwagandha. Some herbs calm down the nervous system. Some herbs help the brain. Some herbs are great for the bladder. Like each herb has its specialty. And so you can take the herb and make a decoction with the ghee, and those herbs are going to move deep into the tissues, all the layers of the tissues. It's the most rejuvenating oil that you can consume. And by the way, this is such an appropriate talk for us, because if you are doing the Ayurvedic spring cleanse, this is part of your second phase of the cleanse, is lubricating the tissues. So we use ghee. All right. Ghee is also going to pacify vata and pitta, and it is even okay for kapha in moderation. So even though kapha is heavy because of the water and the earth elements, it can still support kapha, right? Okay, so I have more notes. I also want to let you know that it is a tonic. It is a rejuvenator, a nutritive, emollient. That means it's going to moisten the body. And it's great for bone marrow. So if you have bone density issues, ghee is something that you need to bring into your diet. It helps with, okay, so there's a lot of issues right now with infertility. Lots. I've had many people come in dealing with infertility. There's a lot of reasons why infertility is happening. They're saying that some of it has to do with all the plastics that's getting into our food and our water and things like that. It's also the pesticides that they're using on our foods. There's a lot like environmental factors that are affecting it. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Ghee helps with your reproductive system, and it also helps build semen. So if your semen count is down, Ojas is going to help that, and ghee is going to help your Ojas, vital reserves, and your semen count, because Ojas, vital reserves, are just below, as far as receiving nutrients, your reproductive system. Okay, it improves your intelligence, your vision, your voice, your liver, your kidneys, like I said, your brain. It is the absolute best fat source for your body. Now, I want to also say, if you get ghee with ashwagandha, now it needs to be, you want to just buy it from a credible source. Ashwagandha and ghee together, you don't just take it separately, but together, it's great for removing what they call bad cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, you can actually do ghee with ashwagandha, and it is one of the Ayurvedic ways of dealing with high cholesterol. Just a little information there. Some of the other things that it helps with, like I said, memory and overall digestion, fear, insanity, consumption, promotes longevity, also reproductive fluids, which makes sense because I said reproductive system. It's great for children and elderly. It makes your body supple, and it helps with your lungs. It helps with herpes, injuries. It's great for all the doshas, like I said, especially vata and pitta issues. So any vata, pitta diseases or imbalances, it's going to help them. It's also good for fever, TB, tuberculosis. It is also great to take, like I said, with herbs. It can be a carrier. It also is going to take nutrients and the energies of the herbs deep into the tissues of the body. It reduces also a desire for animal products. So if you're wanting to reduce how much meat you eat, if you start eating more ghee, it will naturally help you with that. You don't have to work at it. When you do medicated ghee, which is what we do when we do our Ayurvedic cleanse, medicated ghee is very specific. So we can give you medicated ghee that's going to support vata, medicated ghee that's going to support pitta, and medicated ghee that even supports kapha. So you take these herbs and you get an extra boost because you've got the ghee there. And those herbs now can move really deep into the tissues and support your body in healing. It will support healing in the body. Ghee is a go-to. So if you do not have ghee in your kitchen, time to get ghee. I cook with ghee every day. I not olive oil. I have olive oil. Olive oil's great. But in the wintertime, in cooler months, you don't want olive oil, especially if you've got more vata. I'm a little more vata. So I'm going to use ghee because I want to warm up my tissues. I want to nourish my tissues. I want to help heal. Like if you've got body pain, body aches, joint aches, those kinds of things, autoimmune stuff, you need ghee. So time to go out and get yourself some ghee, get it into your diet, and then you can also learn ways of using it as a therapy. I would definitely recommend that you work with an Ayurvedic practitioner on that. Don't just, like I said, we tend to in the West go, oh, this is good for me, more must be better. Be careful when you start doing that stuff because not necessarily. You can cause an imbalance in the other direction as well, right? There's always a balance and every person is different. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. So we gotta stop our addiction to trends. We gotta stop it. Ayurveda is not about being trendy. It's about what works for the individual. That's what it's about. How do I help you as an individual be healthier? That's what it's about. So ghee is something I would definitely have you say, go out and get some. Organic, definitely. And if you want to learn how to make ghee, I think I might do a class on that. It's really easy. Okay, so let's get started with our class tonight. That's our talk for tonight, all about ghee. Ghee is the best. So get your ghee. All right, let's get started with class. And we're going to do a really nice class tonight, focusing on nourishing the body.